Good evening, and welcome to Voices on Madhouse Reality TV. I'm Alice, and this show is about abuse, all kinds of abuse. And if you've not watched the show before, we talk about animal abuse, child abuse, domestic violence, elder abuse, whatever comes up. We highlight certain agencies, and some of our guests are victims of abuse. This evening, I have a very special woman with us, and she is going to talk about her experience in her marriage of abuse. So I want to welcome Monique.
Hi.
Hi, Monique. Thank
Hi.
you for coming.
You're welcome.
I know it's a difficult subject to speak about, and I have a few questions for you. And if you have questions at any point, of course, you can ask. So we've spoken before,
Yeah.
so I have an idea of what has gone on, and so I have an idea where to go. It was interesting when we spoke before, when you spoke about the abuse that you went through in your marriage, and this is your first marriage.
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit about you as a teenager, how you felt. Prior to the marriage, how were you feeling as a teenager?
Well, as a teenager, while I was growing up, before, I was the last of 8 children. So I was the baby of the family, and I was treated so nice.
Oh.
I was loved by parents and my older brothers and sisters. So all I knew was love. And I grew up confident. In the village, I grew up in an island, Trinidad and Tobago. And in the village, I was a prominent person. I was the president of the women's group, of the village council, of the Hindu community. I even had my own preschool at the age of 18.
That young. That's very young to have a preschool.
Yes.
So you were already an empowered young woman.
Yes.
Your parents, gave you the love and that kind of empowerment to go out and achieve.
Yes.
And so you did.
Yes, I did.
So then what happened? You met your husband.
I met and married. But actually, I knew him since I was a little girl also. And my family knew him as well. And he was a good guy.
So,
a very good
wait a
guy.
minute, is he a lot older than you?
No,
or?
he was just like 5 years older.
So your parents knew him as a child?
Yes.
You grew up in a small village?
Actually, we knew each other, related. Our family was related, but not blood relatives, like through marriage.
Oh, related through marriage.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's how we knew each other. But we all grew up very close. Because back then, the community was small.
It's island people, honey.
Yes, so.
My family's from Puerto Rico. I get that. Island people, everybody, I've had the mailman think he's my cousin. Because his last name was Agostini. I was like, I don't even know you, but okay, you must be a cousin. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, so we all knew each other. And then from the time we got married, he just changed. He changed.
He changed.
He,
I have this little saying, when you say I do, then they don't.
you're sure right. I haven't heard that one before, but you're sure right.
So all of a sudden, nobody does. So here it goes. When did you see the change?
Immediately.
Oh, it was immediately?
Immediately. While we were dating, like I said, our families are related. Not by blood.
The marriage.
And my mom died suddenly. And we were dating. And then my dad died 3 months later.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. I was 19 years old.
You're 19.
And I believe he thought he was obligated to marry me now because of the family connection. Till this day, he hasn't told me why. Because I have asked him on many occasions, why did you marry me?
So what are you saying? he wasn't wooing you before that, before the death of your parents?
Yeah,
Did
we
he
were.
show you any kind of, were you dating?
Of
Did he
course
show
we
you any
were. Yeah, we
Oh, you
were.
were?
Yeah, we were
Okay.
dating, and you know, young couple, we were going around, going to the movies, doing those things, and then my parents died suddenly, both of them, and I think he felt obligated. So maybe there was never any love there, but obligation. Because he had another girlfriend, which I found out after I got married.
At the same time he had you as a girlfriend?
Yes.
Oh,
and she was the neighbor next door.
So even prior to marriage, he wasn't an upright individual?
No.
Okay.
But I didn't know.
Okay.
I did not know.
You were young?
Yeah. And immediately he changed. Immediately. From the wedding night he changed.
So on your honeymoon?
Yeah.
He went from... Well, let's talk about that for a moment. How was he while he was dating you? Obviously, you already had another girlfriend, but you didn't find that out till later. So while he was dating you, from what you knew, how was he as a person?
Loving, caring, sweet. We were friends. We grew up, we knew each other, and we were like friends. Okay. And then we started dating. And so I thought I knew him. But I didn't.
So here's the thing, we always say the best relationship is if you're really friends, you really like each other. It's not that you just fall in love with each other, that you really like each other, you genuinely enjoy being together, and then you fall in love, and this is like perfect, right?
Yeah.
But here you are, you've grown up with this person, you were friends, childhood, friends, growing up together, dated, fell in love, or so you thought. And he is not the child you've always known.
No.
So you say he changed immediately.
Immediately.
In what way? How did he change immediately?
He didn't care about me, anything about me. But in the culture I grew up in, when you marry, it's for life. You take it and you stay. So that's what I did.
Well, how did he demonstrate that? Just an example, maybe, of after you're on your honeymoon. Give me an example of what happened at that time that kind of clued you in that, whoa, maybe not sure what's going on here.
Well, I was a young woman, and he didn't care to touch me. But I didn't know any different. I didn't know if this is the way it is or not. So.
Did you think he was just being really careful with you?
I don't know what it did back then. I don't know.
It's like, okay.
I didn't have anything to compare it with, you understand? So
okay.
I didn't know. So he just wasn't the same person anymore. And, I can't say we grew apart from what? There wasn't much closeness. You understand what I'm saying? It's not that we were able to spend a lot of time together before the marriage. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, you grew up together.
Yeah, but, boy and girl can't spend time together.
Alone.
Exactly.
What did you have, like a tribe following you or something?
A what?
I've seen this. And it's funny because this still goes on, by the way, because I just had a conversation about that today. So how is that? You're dating, but you have to have other people there?
No. We can see each other. We'd run off to be together alone. But it's not allowed publicly. The only way it's allowed if we can sit with the family and have a conversation. Mm-hmm. But there's no touching and,
No hand holding.
No, it's total disrespect if you would do that in front of your family or your parents.
So then how do you develop a relationship?
Where nobody else could see it.
Oh. You got to run and sneak.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So did you, obviously this happened maybe a few times, not many times. It sounds like you were really watched this way. Your parents passed and he proposes. How long after your parents passed?
My mom passed in July. My dad passed in November. We got married in February of the following year.
Oh, very, yeah.
So I was still grieving my parents. And then, so even when he got cold, really cold with me, I didn't really, I wasn't totally aware because I was still grieving my parents.
Yes, you were still in grief. Did you love him?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
So when you were dating him, you were in love with him?
I was in love with him since I was 8 years old. My dad.
Oh.
So when he...
This is your childhood love.
Yes.
Oh, first love.
So when he got interested in me, it was like dream came true.
Oh, I can see.
So
that's the perfect Cinderella story. Until you said I do.
Yes.
It was a perfect Cinderella story. And then you said I do, and he didn't anymore.
Okay.
Then how did this progress, and how did it progress?
Well, I got pregnant immediately.
Honeymoon?
Yeah.
Wow.
And during the pregnancy, he didn't care about me. He just did not care. And I knew as a woman, your instinct, but I had nothing to compare it with, nobody. Because where I grew up, when men go their separate way, women go their separate, you meet in the bedroom or at home. If you go to a function, men are separate from women. Mm-hmm. There was never like, if a husband and wife, if your husband friends come home, guys, you can't sit around them. That's total disrespect. So there's nothing that I can say, well, okay, we shared this and now it's not that way.
You didn't have that anyway.
Right.
So culturally, it wasn't helping out either. Culturally,
no.
You weren't able to, sounds like you weren't able to really socialize with him.
No.
Sounds like how couples get together.
We are not totally in like in the 16th century.
No,
we are modernized, but it's the culture that that was passed down. The Indian culture.
So, okay, so your husband could have friends over, but you would then what? Serve them something to drink,
yeah.
But you wouldn't sit in the same room.
You wouldn't sit with them because
no. Would you overhear what they're talking
yeah.
about? Okay. But you couldn't offer an opinion?
Not really, because you're not sitting there with them.
Okay.
You're not part of the conversation.
So let's say you had your girlfriends over, and can you do that?
What do you mean?
Can you have your girlfriends over, and then would he stay out of the room then?
Yeah, more or less, yeah. Because women and men don't socialize. It's like, only my generation, well, other people, not me. It started where husband and wives, would sit together with friends, and it changed in my generation.
The later generation, but not in your generation.
No, my generation, it changed.
Oh, it changed.
I didn't have the opportunity.
Okay. Well, here's a question for you. That sounds so patriarchal to me. You know me. It's my favorite word.
Yeah.
That sounds so patriarchal to me. How did you actually feel about that? Did you just kind of go with the flow? This is the way things are, and it didn't move you at all? Or did you at some point feel that annoyed maybe, or maybe resentful?
I knew that there was another way to life. I knew. And I wasn't getting that. And even like I said, in my generation, it started happening where, husband and wife don't have to be totally separated in public or whatever.
Okay.
But I wasn't getting that. I wasn't getting that support, that love, that togetherness at all.
Okay.
And I felt hurt. You know, I would feel it. I would see, like, you know, the couples together, or maybe a loving glance from a husband to a wife, or a smile, which I never got.
Okay.
You know, so I was aware of all those things.
That must have been very painful.
Very.
Hurtful. We're going to take a break in a moment. We are now talking to Monique. She is talking about her marriage and culturally the differences that we see. But I want you to understand that domestic violence goes across all socioeconomic situations, religion, sexuality. It doesn't matter. And we're going to continue this conversation when we come right back.
Brooklyn's best locksmith and hardware.
We have 3 of the largest showrooms of safes on display and in stock. You can see and touch them in person instead of browsing a catalog. We carry gun and rifle safes, burglary safes, jewelry safes, fire rated from a half hour to 2 hour. Famous name brands.
We sell Gardol.
We sell AMSAC.
The new AMSAC touchscreen.
If you're ever in need of a safe, think Brooklyn's best locksmith and hardware. Right, Lockie?
That's right, Alan.
For professional motorcycle transport and towing, think Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing. Proudly serving all of Long Island, we feature expert handling and 24/7 service. So send a limo for your toy with Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing.
Welcome to Formula Auto Wash, where every day is a great day for a car wash. Open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. till 5:30 p.m. Sundays 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. Detailing packages for every budget, starting out at $29.99. 100% hand wash and detail centre. Hogshair and microfiber brushes and mitts. Proudly using Ecolab Blue Coral soaps and waxes. Formula Auto Wash has served the community for over 30 years. Senior discounts all day, every day. Ladies' Day Wednesday, $3 off any wash. Early bird discount Monday through Thursday till 9:30 a.m. Check out our website, formulaautowash.com.
Welcome back to Voices, and we are speaking to Monique. She's telling us about her experience with her husband and the abuse that she went to, but she's also talking about some cultural differences, which there are. But again, domestic violence, there are no biases. It crosses through all dimensions. So again, we're going to come back to Monique, and I do have a question for you, Monique. When was enough enough?
About probably 5 years into the marriage. One day we were at his brother's house, and the girlfriend was there too.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was very, very hurt. And we went home, and I started asking him, I said, what is it about me you don't love? What it is I don't have that she have? What it is she gave you that I can't? I'm not talking about sexual, I'm talking about me. And he turned and he said to me, he said, I loved her before I even loved you. So she will always be first.
Was that the one that he was dating while he was dating you? Oh, I see. I see.
And I cried and cried and cried. And I think I was awakened. I realized. That's when I realized that I can't. We have a marriage. We are in a marriage, but we don't. We are in a marriage, but we don't have a marriage.
Mm-hmm. I know what you're saying.
And like every woman, when you get married, most women, you give up your maiden name and take in his name.
Unless you're Hispanic, and then you've got a million names.
I got up that morning, got myself and my babies together, went to town, went to the office, and got my name changed right back to who I was, because that night I stayed up all night. And I contemplate, I look into everything and who I started at the beginning. Like in the beginning of the show, I told you who I was. Mm-hmm. And there's even more to it.
Yes.
And I remember who I was and now who I became. I had no personality. I had no self-confidence. I felt ugly. I felt not worthy.
Not worthy.
Of being loved, or not even to sit in a crowd or sit with a group of people. I felt like I'm not worthy of anything. I'm uneducated, but I'm not. But that's how I felt.
That's what you were feeling.
And that morning I got up and I took my identity back. I put back my maiden name on every legal document I owned.
You're allowed to do that?
Yes.
Without a divorce, you were allowed to do that?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
I did. It's true, not that.
That's interesting. So how did your husband take that?
Well, I had to add his name to the end of it.
Okay. So.
And he questioned it, and I said, you know what? I was born with this name. This was my name. Yours is added, and it can be dropped. And it was.
Was there any point that you were ever afraid of him?
In the sense of what? Harming me?
Yeah, harming you. Did
yes.
you ever think that would happen?
Yeah. Yes, it did. It did. It happened.
Was it before the 5 years or after, after you took back your identity?
I believe it was after. I can't remember back. I mean, time.
Okay.
Exactly, but probably it was after. Yeah, I think so. I already had the 3 kids, so.
You already had 3 children.
Yeah.
So you had 3 children with him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 5 years into the marriage, you already felt like, I need to take back my identity. I'm not feeling worthy. I'm not feeling I am deserving of even sitting in a crowd. Did you already have the 3 children yet? Oh, 5. 3 children yet, or you just have more children after that?
I had my 3 children within 7 years, so I guess I had
one more.
Yeah.
Okay. And at that point, you already knew. I mean, you had a sense. I think pretty much he kind of told you that it wasn't in love with you.
Yep. But
so, was there verbal abuse? I mean, did he put you down? Did
yes.
he kind of make you?
All the time. All the time.
In what way was that?
It's like if I say to him, oh, the neighbor said this today, or she did that today, and he'd be like, you must have done something to make her tell you that. He never said, I'm sorry, she shouldn't have said that to you. He never supported me.
He didn't give you any support?
No. And he keep putting me down, you did this, or you deserve that. Or it's none of your business if I'm out with a woman.
None of your business if he's out with another woman?
He said that to me many occasions.
So what were you expected to do?
Shut up and sit down.
And you didn't work?
And smile, no.
You were
a housewife.
Take care of the house, take care of the children, shut up, and look the other way.
Yes.
Look the other way.
And till the time I left him, after 15 years of marriage, he never used to give me any money. One day my 2 babies got sick. I had 2 at the time. And both of them got sick. And I had to go to the neighbor and ask the neighbor for money, borrow, so I can take my kids to the doctor. And when he came home, I asked him for money, and then I paid the neighbor back.
He didn't leave you home with any money in case of emergency?
Never. Nothing.
Why is it you didn't call him?
We didn't have phone then.
Oh, you didn't have a phone. Oh, so you couldn't even call him.
No.
So in an emergency, what do you do?
Whatever I can do.
And it's not that there wasn't phones. We're not talking about that long ago.
No.
You didn't have a phone in the home.
That's right. You got the picture.
Did he make a good living?
Yes, he did.
He made a good living, but didn't provide a phone for you in the home. He didn't leave you any money in case of an emergency, if anything happened to you or the children.
No. And
how did you go food shopping?
I didn't. He did.
He did all the food shopping.
And he would buy what he thinks we should have.
Ah, I see.
And if he thinks we shouldn't have it, we don't have.
You didn't make a list or anything. It was.
I was not involved in that.
So you really had no control of money. He was in total control of the money. You lived in a home. Was anything in your name?
Probably one or two things when we went shopping, when we went to get them. But, like furniture or something.
Was the house in your name?
It was in both of us' names, yes.
It was?
Yes.
Okay. Oftentimes it's not. I see a lot of abusive relationships where the husband only placed it in his name, and of course she thinks she has no rights to the home. All right. So you're home, you have 2 babies, you're young.
And in love.
And in love.
Don't forget that one.
So did you rationalize this?
Yes.
As it's because he's stressed, it's
yes.
because of this. Did you do that?
Yeah, of course. Of course. He loved me. And it's just, it's in my head. He's treating me good. He's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
That's what you told everybody, including yourself.
Exactly.
There's somewhere in your gut, like right here, say, something's not right here.
I always knew it. I always knew. It was like a battle within myself because I knew what I was going through. But I would lie to myself and say, no, it's not happening. No. No.
Well, you're young. You've known this person throughout your childhood. How could he be a different person than how you know him?
Exactly.
Of course, that's what you think. Is there a time that he began to be physical with you?
Yes. He started because I would find things, and when I question about it, and, well, every woman, even though you know what he's doing, you still want him to say he isn't doing it. Or,
of course. Unless you got pictures.
And, he would start beating me, so I would shut up. He would start beating me in the middle of the night, and the neighbors are hearing. And then I started to be ashamed. I started to feel really ashamed. And then I started to get angry. Until one day, enough was enough.
Why were you ashamed? What were you ashamed about?
Because my husband was beating me.
You were ashamed that he was beating you.
And everybody was hearing.
Did you never question why anybody didn't come to help you or call the police?
Nobody does.
So they heard, or at least you think they heard, and yet no one called the police. No one knocked on the door and maybe diverted the attention.
I had nobody.
Now your parents had passed at this point. Was there anybody in your family?
You know what he used to do? One day, my sisters all came home to my house. I was heading to the shower. I'm like, what's up? Hi, welcome. Sit down. I didn't think I have anything to offer them, but come, sit down. So they were like, we came here to speak to you. I'm like, speak to me? What happened? He went home to my sisters and told them I fight with him all the time.
So they were there to reprimand you?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, so I asked them, I said, did any of you ask me what's going on? A man word is gospel. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a say if something is going on or not. I said, okay, well, I'm sorry. Your brother there, he's very perfect, and probably I'm a bad person. What can I say?
Well, that's patriarchal. We are talking to Monique, and she's telling us about her experience in her first marriage. And it's abuse. Obviously, you're hearing about financial abuse, physical abuse, and verbal abuse. And we will be right back to continue this conversation.
Old Spice body spray will make you feel so powerful to blow your mind right in front of your face. Goodbye. Oh no! He's my kid guy. I don't. Power!
Automatic freshness, softness, and static control has never been easier with the Bounce Dryer Bar. I just stick it to the inside of my dryer, and I never have to remember.
Oh, Old Spice body spray makes you smell like power! It's so powerful it sells itself in other people's commercials. You smell like outdoor freshness.
You smell like power.
Yeah, I do. Power! Power!
Try this routine.
Ray, I don't know. Are you sure clicking this thing will get us online?
Well, try dragging it.
Faster.
You're just a mouse click away from a better way to rent movies. Blockbuster Total Access. Movies through the mail plus movies through the store. One low price.
Here's the problem. We forgot to plug it in.
Oh, don't even think about it.
Get a free trial at your Blockbuster store or Blockbuster.com.
This is Beth.
Hi. Oh, congratulations. When are you due?
I'm not pregnant.
Oh, look at that. Excuse me.
You're totally thin.
You look very sexy.
For life's bleachable moments, all it takes is 3/4 cup.
One resident describes her horrifying experience when she first realized the complex was on fire.
I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Well, I woke up to go give me a cold pop. Then I thought somebody was barbecuing. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Then I ran out. I didn't grab no shoes or nothing, Jesus. I ran for my life. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Jesus, 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 it's a fire. Oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Welcome back to Voices on Madhouse Reality TV. We are speaking to Monique, and we're talking about her life and her experience with abuse. So let's continue on. So now your family is coming to talk to you because he's complaining about you.
And nothing ever happened, not as far as I can remember.
Well, you question him having affairs, and how dare you do such a thing? I don't know.
Oh,
What were you thinking of? I have no idea. But, obviously his perception of things was you didn't have that right to do that.
Okay.
And so he went and spoke to, was this your sisters or his?
My sisters.
Your sisters?
Yeah.
Wow. And you look like Stephen Seed. So, okay. So now what are you thinking to yourself at this point? What are you saying to yourself?
Well, I was really mad because why wouldn't my sisters ask me what's happening? They just took his word for it. And that's the day I realized that a man word is gospel. A man word is... What about me? Don't I have a say?
Absolutely. I think I have a client now that I'm working with, and, this gentleman went to her country in the islands, and he wooed her, and he got her to marry him, and young girl, and she's come to New York. She's a newlywed. She's really basically on her honeymoon. And she's come here to live with him, and he has stopped talking to her. He has no conversation with her whatsoever. She cooks for him. Most of the time he won't eat the food. He has nothing to do with her. And I have a young girl that's confused. Like, why would you even come to my country, woo me, blah, 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 bring me here? For what purpose?
So she's just living with it?
Because her family liked him. He was charming. He was charming. He was lovely when he was over there. They don't know this person. He's over here in New York. They don't know this person. Who is that person? She knows this person. So if she complains...
Okay, they think that she's...
It's her.
Yeah.
It's her.
She
Deal. You're married.
Yeah, deal with it.
You're married. You're married for life, as you said. You're married for life. Deal with it. What are you doing wrong?
Yeah, what are you doing wrong?
Why isn't he talking to you?
Yes, what are you doing wrong?
Exactly. So this poor young girl, and this is today. This is not when you were younger. Okay. We're still doing it. We're still doing it. She is totally confused. She's in limbo here, She has no idea, no place to turn. Where's her support system? Where was your support system?
God. Only God.
And so you kept your faith.
Because it's the only thing that kept me going. My faith in God. I grew up with it, so it was there when I needed it.
Okay.
And I realized one morning that if I don't love him, I will stop crying. So I cried all the time.
You cried all the time.
I was never happy. I would be in the happiest place with the happiest people.
And you still loved him?
Of course I did.
He did all this, and even when it became physical, he went to your sisters, made you look bad, and you still loved him?
Of course I did. Of course I did.
And how did you rationalize his behavior?
It will get better.
It will get better.
He's not doing anything really. Why? No, he's not doing anything wrong.
He's not doing anything wrong.
It's me. I'm probably doing something wrong.
It's you. You began to believe what others
what he was
saying.
telling me.
Exactly. So, your fault if he hits you.
My fault.
It's your fault that he even feels badly.
That's right.
That he feels badly about having an affair with another woman. That's your fault too. And so, and a proper woman would then not say anything and look the other way.
But I wasn't. I wasn't.
You weren't a proper woman.
No.
Okay.
So we had the fights. And then it reached a point where I stopped fighting. There was nothing to fight for. But I couldn't stop loving him. I still loved him. I still wanted him to want me.
Did you do anything? Did you do anything to entice him? Did you try to please him? You know, and oftentimes we say the wife becomes the peacemaker. If he likes his dinner a certain way and at a certain time, she makes sure it's that way.
I did.
And did you do all of those things
yes,
to make
I
sure
did.
that he was happy to have his way?
And to make me look bad and to validate what he was doing to me, he used to go and lie to his family and to the neighbors that I don't cook him dinner, I don't cook him food. And the kids in the neighborhood who used to come home and play with my children would tell their parents that it's a lie because they are in my home.
And they ate?
Of course the kids.
Because they joined the family and ate.
The kids would come and, you know, that's how we live in Trinidad. The neighborhood kids would come and they would play with the kids and then they would eat and then go home and shower and come back.
Okay, sure.
But the kids were always there. And the kids would tell the parents, it's not true. And the parents would tell me. And I wouldn't even say anything to him because I've had enough.
So when somebody comes to you and says they've heard all this, that your husband says you don't cook, that you do all of these miserable things at home, and then their children come and say something differently and they come and tell you, what were you feeling at that moment?
Hurt. I would cry. I still felt the victim. I knew he was lying about me, but that's my husband.
So I will ask you again, when was enough enough?
By the 10th or 11th year after the marriage. And he hit too hard, too close. He started seeing the neighbor. He bought at home now. A teenager next door. It broke me. It broke me. I cried like I never cried before. Well, that's all I was doing all these years, just crying.
It sounds like that's what you were doing, honey. You are, either being accused of being, pretty much useless and then crying. This teenager, what age are we speaking of?
14, 15.
So at that point, how old was he?
30-something.
So he's 30-something years old, and he begins to date the teenager next door. What does her parents have to say about that?
Oh, the parents loved it.
They loved him. They know you're the wife.
Yes.
What did they expect from this?
I don't know, but that's how they live. The mother was the mistress of this man, the girl's father. So he lived a life, they lived that life.
Oh, that's the kind of life they were
living.
That's
the kind of life they lived. So it was normal for my husband to be with the young girl.
So that's how he was able to be with this young girl.
Yes.
And how long did he know this young girl?
Since she was a baby.
So he's watched this baby grow up, and now he has daughters.
Yes, 2.
He's watched this baby grow up. She is now 14. She's obviously begun to develop, or she's developed. And he begins to date her. And this is when you said, enough, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done.
Yes. And my friends who had a beauty salon out in the town, she saw I had become suicidal by that time.
You became suicidal?
I used to contemplate suicide. But the only thing kept me from not doing it is looking at my kids. I couldn't do that to them because they would have nobody in the world. He would go his way because that's who he is. He wasn't a bad father, but he wasn't a great dad. And
all right, that's a question I always ask everyone. How do you say he's not a bad father when your children have to see this too? and what would they think of their mother. And I'm going to come back to that in a moment because we have a call here. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Do you, I'm not going to ask your name because you could remain anonymous, but did you have a question for myself or Monique?
I know. I just wanted to make a couple of comments.
Oh, please, by all means.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to let her know that she's not alone, and that abuse comes in many. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, and by watching this type of show, I think I hope it touches a lot of people because I'm a victim of such horrible abuse consistently throughout my life, and it happens in the United States, and I don't know, I'm just very nervous just to even connect with someone on this level. But I just wanted to tell the person out there that it happens. It happens in this country. It happens. I don't know where she's from.
She was saying she's from Trinidad. This happened to her in Trinidad.
Okay.
The islands.
Got so nervous.
Oh, relax, relax.
Okay. Well, I had I had a bone broken recently from a man.
Oh.
I mean, he actually broke a bone, and
where was which bone did he break? Where did this happen?
Well, he broke. This is a man I was. My leg.
Your leg, okay.
And,
you broke your leg.
Yeah, I mean, and a horrible break, and you know, he fractured my kneecap, and it's called a comminuted tibial plateau fracture, if you want to be exact. And I'm an educated woman, and he was an educated man, and you know, it got to the point where the DA took the case, and it was embarrassing. I felt humiliated.
Yes.
And nobody, I wasn't even sure if anyone would believe me, you know, because it seems that I'm a woman about your age or so, maybe, you know, give or take 5 or 10 years. And it's very hard, I think, for older women who have been in relationships to come out of it because it becomes it's so insidious, and you become numb to whatever is happening around you. You think it's normal.
Yes.
And it's not normal.
It's not.
We shouldn't have to. I just want to, we should, in this shows like what Alice Agostini is trying to, I think what her point is trying to get through is that it's really a very patriarchal, you know, I'm so nervous, I can't even say the word.
Oh, relax. You're good, you're doing good.
Of a society, and we have to stick together, I think. And it happens to men, too.
Oh, yes, it does.
But I think it also happens to men. It's not just, abuse is abuse. You know, it doesn't, it's amazing, and, you know, or animals or children, and it's not, at any age, it's unacceptable. And you have to, this poor woman is blaming herself. I hear a lot of, like, oh, it was her.
At the time, yes, at the time.
No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Well, you're very courageous to come on a show. I want to tell you how brave you are to do this.
Thank you.
You're a very courageous woman.
Thank you.
And because of you, other women are going to come out.
Wonderful.
And maybe stand up for themselves a little bit more.
Oh, thank you.
That's the goal.
Thank you. And I thank you so much for calling in. If you want to ever get in touch with me, my number is 631-210-4606.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, ladies.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Oh, that was quite a call, you know. And yes, you are courageous. It's really hard to come out and speak about how you felt, you know, and what all the steps you took that you took to get to where you are today. How did you come out of that relationship?
I started, he used to laugh at me. when I tell him I would leave him. He used to laugh at me. I mean, really laugh.
Because he didn't think you can do that.
That's right. He laughed at me when I said, I'm going to leave you, and you will never know. He used to laugh even more when I tell him I'll leave him and he will never know. But it was just words that were coming out, but right. I had to say it to him. But
you need to say something.
Right, but I knew I was going to go through with leaving him, but the other part, I'm not sure. But then, as I started going out there, I became a hairdresser. And the outside world, I realized that I was missing a lot in life because I was locked in my own little den, dark den with my kids and myself. And I realized I have to leave. And one of the reasons was my 2 daughters were growing up, even my son was growing up to see that I was being abused and I'm accepting it. I didn't want my girls to grow up believing that it's okay for a man to treat you like this and take it.
And you don't want your son to believe this is the way a man behaves.
He can do this to a woman.
Right, exactly.
And that was one of the strongest belief I had, the strongest
desire
that held me together and gave me the strength. And then when I saved enough money, I asked him, I said, I would like to go for a vacation in New York. I got friends there. He's like, you really want to go? Now, when I go away, I used to go away once a year with friends. That's how I had the friends that I went to do hairdressing with. I had a group of friends, but I never used to tell them what I was going through because I'm ashamed.
Okay.
And he said, you really want to go? I said, because when I go away, he used to spend honeymoon, because I wasn't around. So he agreed to let me go for a vacation. So I planned, I'm going to leave on my birthday. That's the day I was born. That's the day I began life.
That's the day you were reborn.
And that's the day I'm going to be reborn. I'm going to start the other half of my life on that day. My friends and my family knew I was leaving him. He did not. He knew I was going for a vacation. And I left him. And he didn't know.
Just like you said.
Just like I said.
And you had no idea how you were doing that. But you came here to the United States, no job, not knowing how things were going to turn out for you. And what you were going to do. And how were you going to do it?
But I intended to do it.
And so you did. Because here you are.
Yes.
Here you are today. How did that affect future relationships or, having been in that, your true love, was not the person you expected him to be. And he was abusive and there was, you have, out of all of these, the major verbal abuse, the emotional abuse, the financial abuse, of not leaving you money.
And besides all that too, we never had food. He never used to provide enough food for us. I used to be pregnant. I was pregnant with my second child. And I used to be, in the morning, the first 3 months, I used to be bringing up air because I have no food in me.
So you didn't have food either, but he made a good living.
He made a great living. He had an excellent job.
Well, this is quite a story. Monique, you're a very courageous woman, and I thank you for coming on to the show. We're going to be ending soon. Do you have any words that you would like to tell the other victims of abuse or anyone who is going through what you're going through or that you've been through? And here you are today. You've come to the United States. You got a job. You changed your life around. Do you have any words for our viewers?
I would say you got to begin by loving yourself. You got to learn to love yourself. You have to remember that you are loved by your parents, your friends, your relatives. You are loved, and you're loved by God. And let your faith bring you through. You must remember that you are loved. You're not a mistake by God. You're a true original, one that he made himself, and he loves you. And he will see you through this. But you got to love yourself and stand up for yourself.
Thank you. Good words. Good words. Very true words. You need to love yourself first. I had a client today, and that's what I said as we were speaking, because I do, most of my work is with abuse victims. And I said, who do you love most? The man who beat you or yourself? You have to decide. And so these are very wise words. And thank you, Monique, for coming. You're so courageous, and I thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I know the viewers have learned much from this discussion. Thank you for joining us on Voices at Madhouse Reality TV. Next week we have Bill Stoltz, who's going to show us thought field therapy for post-traumatic stress disorder for victims of abuse and also for the offender. Hope to see you next week. Thank you. Well, good night.
You know the night time is the right time to be with the one you love. Oh, come on, baby. Oh, now, sugar, I wanna be with the one I